Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Deep Roots movement. Continuing on with the Nabi Nuh alayhi salam series, with a further installment related to the deceiver and his 40 days of devil tech and deception deluge. As I was reading a bit about him, it struck me as interesting the accounts of the deceiver, the false messiah, establishing his rule and moving throughout the entire earth. This is a very interesting thing to me, and he's unable to enter Mecca and Medina according to what he told the companions, or told at least one of the companions. And this is interesting. Now, first off, we have to consider, is he actually being honest with them? He might be telling them, no, I can't enter Mecca and Medina, and then they're going to have a false sense of safety. Also, people will often read that and say, well, that means that Mecca and Medina are actually a safe place. But that's not actually what it's saying. It's him, whether he can enter a place or not, does not mean that people are safe in that location. Also, Mecca and Medina, if we look at the Dajjalic control grid that's gone up around the world in recent years, the symbolism, especially since 9/11, which I look at as being an initiation ritual, initiating the new world order across the world, which is his order. And we've got the crowning event. So we start with 9/11, which some people associate with Isa alayhi salam's birthday, which would be mockery and disrespect. So we got 9/11 of the year 2001, leading up to 9/11 of 2020 is a 19-year increment. And that 19 is associated with Malaika over the guard over hell. And it's like, we know that these human devils, they really like to mock. They like to use any hell and devil symbolism from the Bible and the Quranic traditions. It's very interesting. So I see it like it was a ritual that at least that phase was completed. I know that we could read the phases of a long-lasting ritual in many different ways, maybe 11-year increments, starting back to the year 2000 or 1990. There could be many different phases to this ongoing ritual. We're clearly in a phase of this ritual. It seems as if we are in the day that seems like a year. The day that is like a year, according to the prophetic hadith, because we had, it starts, the crowning event begins at kind of the end of 2019 and officially beginning of 2020. And then 1 year later, then we've got the mark being initiated. And this is interesting. So we've got 2020, then we've got 2021, then we've got 2022, which we've just entered, Then it could go on all the way through 2020 part 9, so we've got years. Also, 2020 seems to suggest being able to see clearly. 2020 is hindsight. We can look back to the past and have more clarity and insight. And it's interesting that this is the time of revealing, of unveiling, where now we're starting to have the scales fall from our eyes and being able to see what's been happening behind the scenes with all these crazy evil things. And people are being exposed for their associations with various brotherhoods. Most Muslims would never have imagined that the Muslim world was infiltrated so intensively, but it's coming to light, and it's going to be coming to light even more so. We would not be able to have a worldwide event such as we're dealing with if there had not been mass infiltration and corruption from a long time ago. Now, looking at Mecca and Medina, just consider that maybe Dajjal was actually lying to the companions of the Prophet. May Allah be pleased with them and with the companions, and that people are not actually safe from him entering Mecca and Medina. One of the interesting points about Mecca and Medina, he says that it would be guarded, he would be blocked from entering them by angel. At least I don't remember if it was an angel with a sword or angels with swords. Now it's interesting because now there's a connection to Adam and Eve, peace be upon them, and the biblical account of them being sent in exile out of the Garden of Eden and into the dunya as we know it. before they make tawba and tazkiyah. And they were prevented from re-entering the garden by at least one angel with a flaming sword. So we have a connection here. And this is worth considering, because we're looking, one of the things, I intend to make a series about the prophets, peace be upon them. I really love looking at continuity between the prophets and their teachings and tradition and their scriptures. I like to seek out the prophets worldwide because much more has been preserved than we have been led to believe. Much more, in fact. Much more can actually be sifted out. It can be excavated and has practical benefit for us as believers, inshallah. So when it comes to whether Dajjal could enter into Mecca and Medina, this is not definitive in the way that we think it may be. Matter of fact, if you look at Mecca and Medina right now, it is required in almost everywhere in Arabia, period, the Gulf region, to take the mark or the precursor of the mark, however you might view it. It's certainly a precursor if it's not the mark. But now, when you've got people who cannot buy, sell, or trade, that is the classic biblical mark, and it's associated with the forehead, which so are the some of the testing deposits something in the forehead region, and you've got the hand, which symbolizes the arm. The right hand symbolizes the right action, proper healthy action. It symbolizes mercy, compassion, etc. So so now, and then the left arm, if the right is marked, the left arm takes precedence. So the left arm is associated with wrath, punishment, etc. Also, marks, traditionally marks such as tattoos, such as scarification, such as mutilation, such as piercing, these were always associated with slavery, very much so, in many, many cases. Not all, but in many cases associated with ownership and possession. Also in the last video, we discussed the deceiver's ability to perhaps possess dying bodies or newborn bodies that then are taken into, like the baby is eliminated, their consciousness is killed or eliminated, and then maybe the deceiver is able to then be raised in the body of that child, that baby, by cult members, that he still has control over them, and in order to go from body to body over millennia, perhaps, accumulating knowledge and information and insight that he's using to establish total control over the world in a pharaonic style. So we've got this, I want us to consider a little bit more just with the, so as far as the, so we're looking at continuity of the prophets, but we're also looking at continuity of the Antichrist traditions, the Dajjal, and how he inverts the stories of the prophets. And, he's said to be able to do many of the miracles that prophets can do, like being able to raise the dead, bring fire from the skies, heal the sick, cause droughts and end droughts and bring abundance, but he does it in a devilish way. And, others have suggested that that's actually through technology. So he's using devil tech, he's using various technologies, and there is this clear connection between technology and black magic. I mean, there's that famous quote from one of the Thor movies where they're discussing the place where magic and science and technology blend together. And I would say that fits very well with the Dajjalic narrative. So we have to consider that Mecca and Medina may not be actually what we think they are, because if you go there, not only are people forced, pretty much high pressure and potentially soon forced to take the mark. In order to go on Hajj, you have to take devil tech into your system. You have to compromise your Adamic clay in order to go and do this ritual. This ritual, which to a great extent has actually been infiltrated and taken off path. And it is in many, a number of the scholars have talked about how the Kaaba is no longer shaped the way it used to be. There are many, many things that have changed with the way that it's laid out and performed, and the way that the haram is set up. And so we need to be very aware of these issues. Also, many of the police and the guards in those areas, they wear one-eye symbols on their uniforms, flags that have the one-eye symbol on them. There are a number of crazy things going on in the symbolism that we need to be aware of, brothers and sisters. And so this is letting us know that the deceiver is already present there, very heavily. So it suggests that he actually was lying. Ask yourself, why would he tell the companions the truth? He might have told them a partial truth, but he may have wanted to actually deceive people in order to get a certain result in the future. This is worth considering. So anyway, I want us to consider that the deceiver is a pharaoh, and he's establishing pharaonic rule over the earth. Notice the $1 bill, it has the pyramid with the eye above it. So, it's like it also is connected to him being a pharaoh. A pharaoh, what is a pharaoh? A pharaoh is a god king. It's also a priest, and I would argue that they were actually doing possession rituals. So he's involved in possession. I think that we can actually infer this, and we can bring this out of the source materials. And it's very important to look at the broader prophetic tradition in order to get little missing pieces. We're going to discuss this soon in some other videos as well, inshallah. But just consider the various rituals that he may be involved in order to establish his rule on the earth. We're clearly in the middle of a ritual. We must preserve our sacred organic Adamic clay at all costs to protect the human genome. This is absolutely critical, because the Adamic flesh, there were no other, unless we were genetically modified by some other beings along the way, we must carefully consider that our Adamic flesh has actually come down completely intact from Adam. Now, I will discuss in other videos ways that our water and our clay can be altered and transformed negatively and positively, but just leave it at this point. Just consider that you literally are in the body derived directly from Adam, directly. All right, so this connects us back to this. We're linking the prophetic stories together, because each of the prophets is somehow embodying the others. And by the way, Adam contains every single prophet. So that means that if you have intact Adamic flesh, you literally have every single one of the prophets within you. So if there are things that you say, oh, if I had lived in our Nebi's time, peace and blessings be upon him, if I'd lived in his time, then I would do all these things for him, etc. Well, the thing is, you have the opportunity to care for your body, to show respect to your body, to honor our traditions, and to be present and appreciative in all you do, to draw near to truth, to draw near to the wise and compassionate truth most high, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to consider this, so you have the opportunity to actually take care of the body of a prophet and the bodies of the prophets. This might sound strange to you, but give this some consideration, and it's potentially very transformative in your personal practice. All right, so anyway, I just wanted to give us a little bit more information to think with, because that's what we're doing. I'm putting out a lot of information for us to think with, because we have to think in fresh ways. We have to expand our view. We have to think in a sharp, critical manner, but we also have to think in an intuitive manner. So clean your guts, clean your bodies, sharpen your mind. Study the world around you. Read the book around you and within you, because everything's a book. Everything consists of signs and symbols for you to read. So you must apply reading strategies to the outer and the inner realm, and read the Quran as a mirror and as a guide, a personal guide for you. Read every single word and every letter and every ayat and surah in there as a personal message to you. And then go as deep into your body during salah as possible, because if this is the body of Adam alayhi salam, just consider that in order to draw near into the presence of Allah during salah, be present in your body. Really feel your body. Feel the movements. Feel the stillness. Feel the expansion and contraction. Feel the body sensations in the breath. Feel the vibrations and pulsations. You may actually notice that your prayer practice is becoming much more powerful, and you're deriving much more interesting insights when you go into sajda, and afterward when you're resting and you're sipping a cup of tea, a cup of chai, mindfully and with appreciation. You are much loved. You are well appreciated. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are the Deep Roots Movement.